as an Indian entrepreneur starting the business out of India, how do you build a global presence? Some of you may be fortunate enough to have started with a global presence from the beginning, but many of you may have initially started in India, selling into Indian clients, and then once you have a certain position in the Indian market, chosen to go global. Both of those work. I'm going to talk about them differently. If you are starting a business which is going to be global from day one, then obviously the challenge in getting a global customer to accept your product, which is coming, where the development team could be sitting in India, where you're sitting in India, is much harder. So how do you build a presence in that case? For you, the most important thing is to find a partner that can provide that initial credibility in the global market. So in that situation, strategic partnerships become more important. What is the other prep work you can do? You can ensure that the product that you have built is meeting global customer needs, and that there is enough of a white space in that area that you are not competing head on with existing global players. So if you're competing with the existing global players that may be in that market, and you are coming with a product that is from India, it'll be much harder sale. So one thing that is very critical is to ensure that you have a very unique differentiation that causes global clients to notice you. Let me now shift to if you are already having Indian customers. Then I would say you've already done some of your prep work. You have customers who are, who can be reference clients. I would then take that and say, what are similar clients in global markets? Can I take my learnings from my Indian customers and take them global? What do you need to do then? You need to make sure that you have adequate support infrastructure for your global customers. That could be potentially resident in India. So you can have, your tech team providing customer support. You could be hiring application engineers that are doing technology support. Or you will need to build a global presence. I would recommend that initially you should look at maybe transitioning some of your team members to the global market to provide continuity, rather than trying to build a completely new team in that market. It may require you to move. It may also mean frequent travel, but that is what I have found to be a reasonably successful way of actually making that transition. Trying to do this by sitting here in India and hiring a sales guy and a sales engineer in the global market is a lot harder. It can be done. It's a lot harder. It can be done if you already have relationships in those markets, if you know the person, if the person feels comfortable working with you, feels comfortable with the technology that you have built over here, and can feel comfortable taking the reference clients that you already have and transitioning that story to the global stage. So in terms of, that's the sales aspect. Now, obviously, as a company, you need to, when you're going global, have to also make sure that your support, your technology is going with the global market. Your competition will change. So are you is your technology team ready to meet the global demand? Do you have the right people in your team to be able to take level 2 support, level 3 support? Will people be, is there customers may come and visit you in your domestic setup? Do you have adequate facilities to host customer visits? Can your people interact with customers in the Indian environment? So I would say those are some of the things that one has to get ready when you're thinking about going global. The other aspect of going global is capital requirements. So one of the challenges that Indian companies face is, as they're going global, they could be undercapitalized, and you can start getting into customer situations in global markets and realize that you are not adequately capitalized to hire the right people, to make sure that you have talent in place to meet global requirements. infrastructure needs change once you go global. So I would also make sure that you have adequate capital to go global, not just team as one part of it. Let me take an example of one of our companies that has recently gone global. There's a company called ScaleArc. ScaleArc started with initially selling their product, or not even selling, they were testing their product with Indian customers. They got 3 or 4 large customers to use their product, and once we had 2 of those customers start using it in production, we had the CEO Varun Singh go to the US to just test the waters and meet with similar clients. So this was in the gaming space and in the e-commerce space. And so we had him go and meet with some customers there, and the feedback he got was, yes, there is a need for this solution, which is around database optimization in the global market. So this was a 3-week visit. He went there. He then subsequently came back, as you said, got the team all ready so that he could go spend more time in the US. He then went back subsequently 3 months later for a 8-week visit, 6 to 8 weeks. And in that time, we made a lot more introductions. We introduced him to some potential investors. We introduced him to some potential customers. And he met with 27 customers in that 8-week period, out of which 17 actually said they would like to do a pilot. Now, we could have said, oh great, we'll take a pilot today and start working on it. But we very carefully, Varun chose his pilots. He only agreed to start the pilots once he decided he was going to move to the US, and that he had the team back here to support him in doing these pilots, because customers would obviously have questions. There would be setup requirements. There would be level 2 support from the technology. They would find bugs. Those bugs would have to be fixed very quickly, and so on. So we got that set up, and so this was the first trip was in April. The next trip was in August, and in November he actually relocated and got funded. And at that point, we started these pilots. And the company has subsequently, in the last year, scaled up. Has a lot of production clients in the US. Just raised a next round of funding, and so it just shows a path that you can take as you go global.